feel like your career is perhaps stagnant and that you have actually hit that glass ceiling? In this video, I'm going to reveal the game-changing truth about mastering the landscape of power in your organization that would absolutely help you get rid of that stagnation and break the glass ceiling. Welcome to my channel where we empower women like you to own their power and fast-track their careers. My name is Nayli Russo. I am a strategist and success coach. And let me tell you, from being an immigrant of this country who knew no one, to being the former vice president of people and strategy for the Pittsburgh Pirates, I know how powerful it is to have a network that can catapult your career. As women, unfortunately, we face so many biases and systemic issues in the workplace. So knowing who holds the cards and how the game is played can transform our path. We have to learn the game. We have to learn how to play it if we want to change it. So today I'm going to teach you how to do exactly that. But first, let's try to think through why this is so important to us. Well, the first thing I can tell you is that because we know that the cards are already stacked against us, we need to make sure that we are understanding the dynamics of the workplace. We need to understand how to navigate it. Who are the individuals that are driving a lot of the decision making and the influence? Sadly, women are over-mentored and under-sponsored. So it is up to us to have a map that would allow us to navigate that terrain. Who are the individuals that are making those decisions and how we get on the radar? When we understand who is actually influencing things, we're better off knowing how to position ourselves effectively in front of those individuals. When we find a way to understand the dynamics of who holds power, we also then start to build credibility and we start to create alliances and sponsorships that will move us forward. Now, here's the thing. This is way easier said than done. So let's talk about how you can actually make that happen. The first thing I want you to do is that I want you to map the entire terrain of the organizational structure. I know that's crazy, but I do want you to understand who is who. Go to HR, ask for an organizational chart, look at the website, whatever it is that you need to do. Who is the CEO or the president? Who reports under them? What are the formal levels of authority? Who are the decision makers, the head of the departments? Who has informal influence? The employees who have been there a long time, they have influence. Who holds the power? Who are the people who are very well connected and how can you get to know them? For example, I will tell you from experience, one of the most influential individuals in any organization are executive assistants because they have direct connections to the leaders. All right, so once we have mapped out the entire terrain, I want you to think who those individuals influence. Identify, what are the things that they're driving? For example, executive assistants have a lot of influence on a leader's schedule. A chief of staff has a lot of influence of what goes in front of the executive. So you have to think about that. There's different leaders within the CEO sphere who have a little bit more sway or a little bit more influence in the decision making. So you have to be aware of it and think of the CEO or your own boss or whatever it is, okay? For example, a head of a strategy would have incredible influence of what projects get pushed forward, what projects get funded. So if you have a passion, you have something that you want to drive, get in contact with the head of a strategy. People are going to look to presidents or CEOs or leaders for guidance, but I want you to start looking in the peripheral area and who is actually driving a ton of those decisions in a way that you never thought. After you do that, I do want you to look at decision making. How are decisions made in the company? Top down, bottom up. You have to understand that. The way that you can do this is that I want you to start paying attention to the interactions in meetings, okay? Perhaps who is the person who speaks up? Who is the person who, when a decision needs to be made, everybody looks at them, right? What are the ideas that are actually being implemented and who is pushing them forward? That'll give you an idea of the dynamics on decision making. You can learn a lot on these interactions. So make sure you're understanding the informal rules of the workplace. When you have that understanding, then you can start to use that information to your advantage, which is critical for success. All right, so now that we know and understand decision making, who influences what, here's what I want you to do. I want you to start building strategic relationships. Maybe identify one or two individuals within your organization that can help you increase your visibility. They might teach you a thing or two, or even offer guidance and mentorship for you. Remember, your network is your net worth. So when you form those relationships, those people can advocate for you when you're not in the room, helping elevate your credibility and visibility. The second thing I want you to do is that I want you to ask for introductions. Don't be afraid, okay? Stand up, create opportunities for yourself. Don't wait until a leader walks in to talk to you. Go and talk to them. Networking can open incredible doors for you that you never knew existed. And by the way, if you do not have an elevator pitch, I want you to work on it. You never know when you're going to walk into an executive in an elevator and you want to highlight what you do in the company. Okay, with that established network that you are starting to create and those strategic relationships that you're building, I want you to never hesitate to reach out to them for advice or support. It's okay, people want to be needed. The right connections can help you navigate challenges and seize opportunities. But also remember to always add value to them as well. If you see something that can benefit them, reach out and let them know. Understand their goals, what they're striving for, and is there a way that you can support them? We don't want to make the mistake of only building relationships when we actually need something from people. You have to make sure it's a dual relationship. Network and relationship building should be ongoing and not a transactional process. You have to make sure it's genuine. And here is the thing. I know a lot of you are thinking, this sounds incredibly manipulative. I have to change who I am. No, you don't have to. Authenticity is your power. Simply because you're learning to understand the landscape doesn't mean you have to change who you are. You can stay true to your values and your beliefs. Authenticity is about bringing your whole self to work. When you do this, you're more engaged, you're more creative, and you're more effective. And then you will genuinely add value to those individuals. Organizations need authentic leaders who can inspire and drive change. Your authenticity is your unique power, so use it. The bottom line here is that understanding the landscape of power is not about manipulation, it's about strategy. For us as women, this wisdom is essential. It would help us break down barriers, build credibility, and advance our careers. So let's make sure that we're navigating that terrain with strategy and confidence. All right, before I leave, I want to leave you with one last message. You have what it takes to break those barriers. You have what it takes to break the glass ceiling. Understanding the landscape of power is a must if you want to position yourself within the company. You can achieve this by all of the things that we said today. Map the terrain, build strategic relationships, all while staying true to yourself and adding value in any way you can to the organization and to those individuals. When you know the right people, you plan the right moves ahead of time, then you're positioning yourself ahead of the game. Let's make sure that you're understanding the rules so eventually when you make it all the way to the top, you can change them. I'll see you next week.